Happy Monday, y'all. Welcome to the Franchise Empire newsletter. Today is Monday, January 8th. Excited to jump into them. So I'm going to share my screen here for a second so we can jump in. And then Kevin's waiting uh, behind the stage, the virtual stage. And then we're going to dive into this bad boy. So welcome to the Franchise Empire newsletter. We do this every week. In case you are just tuning in for the first time. So today, in not 5 minutes or less, this is the email version, which is 5 minutes or less. But we're going to talk about one specific franchise resale. I think the title to this was the business for sale that makes 880K. So this specific franchise makes 880K. So it'll be exciting to dive into that specific resale. We're going to talk about a franchise of the week. This one is really cool. It's established, very established, has a ton of franchisees. The numbers are absolutely absurd that it makes. So I'm excited once Kevin comes on and starts telling us a little bit more about that. We'll cover actually we put 2 client case studies in here this time, and then the latest episode of the Franchise Empire show. Quick note as we dive into this, if you want to get these newsletters live on Sunday and you're not subscribed, you can go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter. All you do is put in your email address and we'll send it to you every Sunday morning for free. So make sure to do that. What's up, Dallas? Good to see you, man. Dallas is tuning in from YouTube. Dallas is one of our clients in our franchisee mastermind and just an awesome dude. I hung out with him when he came to Orlando. I drove him to the airport, actually. I picked him up to, we were going to go grab some food. He's like, can you drive me to the airport? I'm like, yes. It's pretty funny. All right. So before we dive into the franchise resales and the franchise of the week, I just want to every week I put a quick message in the newsletter, which is I just want to encourage you with with this message overall, which is that it was just a story about how I'd been procrastinating on doing something. So someone on my team had sent me something, and literally a month went by of me procrastinating on doing it. And finally, after many, many reminders, I got around to doing it. And you know how long it took me? It took me a whopping 5 minutes. Maybe you guys can relate to this. Maybe you experienced this in your life where you just associate pain or discomfort to something because it's new, or you think it's going to take a lot of work or effort. So you just keep delaying it, delaying it, delaying it. And then eventually you can't delay it anymore because either it's embarrassing or painful or whatever. Like this is like something that used to happen for me with the dentist. Kevin will probably tell you many stories about that and the dentist. But I used to be terrible at taking care of my teeth, and I would procrastinate, or know I have a cavity, and then boom, all of a sudden I got to get a root canal, and it sucks. But maybe you have done this with your dreams and like buying a business. Like you're unhappy right now, miserable, and you've been wanting to make a change, but we're like, it's going to be so new, and I don't want to leave my job, or I don't want to take a step back financially, and so you avoid it. And then eventually until it's too late, or you're like, you have high blood pressure, or you get fired, or something drastic happens to force you to make the change. And so, really this is just about, if this is something that you want to do and it's been nagging at you to start a business or to make the transition to entrepreneurship, the only reason that you're not doing it is because you're associating pain to it rather than relief, right? And so if you can start associating relief to your current situation, like, oh, when I do this, things will get better and it will be better, then that'll drive you to do something that you've been procrastinating for years to actually do. And the one way to guarantee failure in business, starting a business, buying a franchise, buying a resale, whatever the hell it is by not doing anything. That is the one way to guarantee that you do not succeed, is if you don't do anything. With that said, I'm going to bring on Kevin and we're going to talk some business. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How does that message land with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's inaction is the worst thing you can do in a number of things in your life, in my opinion. But me and you, again, we've talked many times about this. We're wired the same, but I feel like even if you take inaction, like if you're looking into the thought of owning a business and you never take a step, you're just like never going to know if it was right for you. Even if you take a step and you start to look into it and spend time, and then you're like, all right, I've checked this off my list. I know it's not right for me. You'll have that peace of mind. You won't constantly have it in the back of your head. You can think of other things to like invest your time and energy and resources in. But like if you do nothing, you're just literally going to be status quo through your whole life. And I can't function that way, but I understand why people do, because it is like, well, what if I fail? What if what if you don't take at least one step in understanding if it's going to worse? That's more of a failure than if you tried, at least something. So I don't know. I didn't mean to go on a rant there, but I totally agree with your message.
Yeah, it's a great rant, and I think ultimately, I think in most situations, the feeling of regret, it'll just eat at you, or not regret. Yes, regret. Like what's the phrase? Regret of not doing anything. Like the feeling of like what if.
Hmm.
So I think that feeling of just like what could have been. And look, there are people that start businesses and fail. Like we're not going to sugarcoat this. I've known many people, not many. I've known two. I'm trying to get more clear and specific with my language. I've known two specific people that have declared bankruptcy and have gone on to own businesses that did well over eight figures, well over $10 million plus in sales. So even if you like were in a situation where something happened and you had to declare bankruptcy, like there's always a way out. So all right, let's jump to, we're going to skip around a little bit in the sequence. So we're going to hit the resale that makes 880K. We're going to hit that last, but we're going to dive in first into the franchise of the week. So Kevin, tell us about this franchise.
Yeah, so Express Employment Professionals, it's again maybe one of those franchises you've never heard of, but they're huge. They've been around since 1983. They have locations internationally, but they have around 800 U.S. locations in the U.S. and they do temporary and full-time staffing solutions for small and medium-sized businesses in your market. So it's a staffing company, but I think what sets Express apart from other staffing franchises or even other like service-based franchises is they really, really have like their systems pretty dialed in. And I learned that going through validation with one of our clients recently. But we had a client just this past year. I think he had worked with, a couple franchise brokers before he'd come to us. He had looked at, 12 to 15 different franchises in pretty close detail. He was very, I wouldn't say picky, but he knew like what he wanted in terms of financial performance and all this other stuff. Anyways, long story short, he went through the validation with Express and was like blown away with their support and the systems they had. And when he went, one thing that stuck to me when we went through validation with other owners, he contacted several other owners. We advised him through that process. Um, he said, like, everyone was just like, dude, just follow this system and what they tell you, and you will be successful. The only reason I wasn't successful earlier on is because I thought I would do my own thing and I wasn't following their very like simple system and model. And as soon as I started doing that, I made really good money. And so I like hearing things like that because if that's the case, if their system is so well developed, it's more about just making sure you're right fit for that system, and it's likely going to work in your market because they have so many different locations throughout the country. They have a bunch of different markets they're operating in. So yeah, Express is kind of an interesting one. I think the total investment for this is, I want to say it's between like 125 and 175. Looks like okay, 100 to 400,000. Yeah, from what I understand, it's the size of the market and the model you choose, but most people start out around 125 to 175 total investment. So And then their item 19, their franchise in their franchise disclosure document, which shows their financial performance for their Z's, is pretty crazy. I'm having it's a little bit small for me, but thank you,
I
sir.
know this table's small. I just zoomed it to 300%.
Yeah, I like how they break it down. So a lot of franchises won't break it down like their first year performers, but this one, the top category is first 12 months in operation. So there's 29 units represented here. In the first year, they were averaging over 1 million in sales, which is kind of crazy.
That's absurd.
Yeah, it's hard to do 1 million in sales in any business. I don't care what it is in the first year. So that's strong. And then units open and operating second 12 months. So year two, the average annual sales bumped up to 2.68 million. Again, kind of absurd. And then after 2 years in business, bumped up to 3.69 million. So really, really strong numbers there.
Those are gangbuster numbers. That is wild.
Yeah, the one thing I know that you need to have in terms of like skill set or want to in terms of work is being able to meet with business owners and really put yourself out there and network. And you're probably going to hear no a decent amount of times, but if you continue to follow the system, you're going to start getting a lot of yeses. And then you get in with a small or medium-sized business, you help them out with one, staffing need, then you do another and another, and it just continues to snowball, and you have a pretty strong, payroll there that, after you get up and running. So high revenue potential, like we said in this first point. And most people don't have that experience. They don't have staffing industry experience. It's just, again, understanding if your personality type and the job functions that are required from an owner meet what you think you can do or you're comfortable doing, I think it can be a really, really strong fit.
Nice. Yeah, this is very interesting. What crap, there was something I was gonna say and I just totally spaced out on it.
I was rambling on there for a while. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, my squirrel brain. Look, at the end of the day, here's what I like, one, and here's what my promise to you guys as the viewers is that we're always going to bring you quality opportunities overall. There are some people out there that only pretty much will bring you like emerging franchise opportunities. As I say every week, there's nothing wrong with an emerging franchisor, that has less than, 10 or 15 or 20 franchisees. But I mean, if you're super risk averse, imagine coming into a system that has 800 franchisees or 800 territories or locations. Like that thing is solid. I mean, this thing's been around since the 1980s. This isn't a business that was started in 2021 in the boom of the, home services era because everyone was in their house. So, I like some of these just blue chip concepts for, folks that are like, hey man, I got to get this right. I want to make sure that I'm buying a franchise that is proven. And like this is proven, which is what I like about it. Full disclaimer, business is hard. No matter what you buy into, whatever, you're going to have to work hard. So if you're looking for, hey, I just want to be a passive owner, honestly, I think probably you should stay away from franchising unless you plan on getting your hands dirty for the first 12 to 24 months. Then you could potentially set yourself up down the road, probably not through this concept. But I know what I was going to say earlier, Kevin, is that if you're super introverted, this is probably not the opportunity for you, like you were saying.
Right.
Like you got to be willing to get out there, network, talk to business owners, like hear the word no. So I guess that's the caveat or the rub, is that it's an incredible opportunity. But if you're, scared of talking to people, then, probably not a good fit.
Yeah. And that's exactly why we have conversations. We have you take that personality assessment because, like, we're not going to recommend this franchise if you fall into that category. We don't want you to be miserable. You're going to be unsuccessful. It doesn't make any sense. Just because it does make good money doesn't mean you're going to make good money if you're not a good fit in it. There's plenty of other franchises that might meet, your personality requirements better. So, but yeah, I really like this business. Again, it's kind of tried and true. They've been around for a long time. So Um, and it's also rare we see like any terminations or resales for this one. They have a pretty good retention rate.
Nice. And this is like pretty much a Monday through Friday business, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Monday through Friday, because you're not really, I mean, no one's really going to meet with you outside of office hours to talk about their staffing needs. So that is a good thing about this business as well.
Yeah, which is huge. I really like, and there are some Monday through Friday like franchise concepts out there. Like another one would be in the daycare space. And I know that through the different networks that you're in, you have access to some daycares. But there are for folks that go, man, I want to start a business, but quality life is important to me. Well, you should consider some Monday through Friday franchises. Not all franchises are Monday through Sunday, and it could be that work life balance you're looking for. But if you guys want to see if this franchise is available in your area, I mean, there are a lot of franchisees already, so it's going to be a little bit of slim pickings. I know there are some other quality staffing ones out there too, but you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory, and you can enter your info, be able to set up a free, quick 15-minute call with either Kevin or Krista to see if this is available in your area and what other concepts may be available in your area as well. Real quick, before we jump to the resale, because I'm excited for Kevin to tell you guys about this resale business that makes $880,000. Although I guess the Express was probably even more exciting because the numbers are gangbusters in that one that we just talked about. But on the latest episode of the Franchise Empire show, we talked about, or I talked about, this was a solo episode I did, how to buy a franchise with no money down. And I made an original version of this like 3 years ago. This episode is truly, if you have $0 and you want to buy a franchise, this will walk you through how to go ahead and make that happen. I walk you through 4 specific strategies. I think you'll find them very, very useful. It's not clickbait at all. And you'll walk away with like strategies on how you'd be able to do that. Again, the Franchise Empire Show is a separate YouTube channel. So you just type in a YouTube, the Franchise Empire Show, and make sure to go subscribe there to be able to see those. And let's jump to the resale. All right. So tell us about this, Kevin.
Yeah, so the resale this week is called Home Watch Caregivers. So it's in-home senior care services. So they provide both medical and non-medical, I believe, senior care services. So like companion care, grocery shopping, and then would be non-medical, and then medical would be, where you're actually having like nurses go into the home and administer different, medicines or shots they need to give. I don't know exactly what it all entails, but it's both medical and non-medical for home watch caregivers. But they've been around since 1980, another longstanding one. They have 225 franchise locations throughout the country. This particular resale is located in Sugar Land, Texas. So I think that's like Southwest Houston area. The asking price is just over $1 million, which is high. But if you look, the reason is the seller discretionary earnings are around $315,000. Just super.
I'd love to jump in here for just a second. And it's when he says it's high, in a sense, it's really not high. The number may seem like a big number, but given that when businesses sell, it sells for a multiple of its earnings, and he's about to talk about SDE and what that is, like the bigger the sales price of a business, the better it is. The bigger it is, most of the time, unless you have a stupid owner, I'm just kidding, not a stupid owner, but unless you have an unrealistic owner who is trying to sell their business for an unrealistic amount, that the valuation doesn't match up at all, which that happens sometimes. But it's typically the higher its price, the more money the business is making. So it's a good thing. You want to buy a business that's selling for a good amount of money. If it's selling for 100 grand or less or 150 or less, it's probably something where you're really going to have to roll up your sleeves. But sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
No, that was good. I mean, yeah, I probably shouldn't have. The asking price is not high, like in my opinion, value. You'd have to like dive into the financials and everything. But when you see seller discretionary earnings, which means basically like net profit plus any like owner's comp or ad backs that maybe the owner is charging to the company that are more like, I don't know, personal financials. Like, I don't know if that's the best description of SDE, but that's essentially what it is, what you can expect to earn as an owner, all the owner benefits there. So you're right, Tarek. Like, typically you see when a business goes to sell, it's a multiplier of the SDE number. In this case, obviously, you can see it's around a little bit over 3 times, or around a 3-time multiplier, which is in line with this type of business. So it's not necessarily a high asking price. It's just, it's a very profitable business, so they're asking the right amount accordingly. But this one, what makes it unique is the business is located on the grounds of an assisted living facility. So there's like an on-site resource there for the caregiving needs. And then I imagine they get a lot of referrals from that facility, which is pretty cool. That's a big differentiator for this kind of business compared to, other senior care franchises I've seen. And then Sugar Land also has one of the largest VA clinics in the country. So that's another like huge referral source for them. So what's cool about that is like, you're not paying for those referrals. When you don't pay for referrals and you don't pay, for a lot of marketing, you have a really high profitable business, like you can see here. So, yeah, I think this is a phenomenal opportunity. Those are, that's reoccurring revenue, a lot of these accounts. And so they do want an owner to be full-time in this business, at least for the first year and a half. They say, it's really going to take your full capacity to get in and acclimated to the business and everything. So they want somebody in there full-time. But yeah, if you're interested in the senior care space and you're in the Houston area, willing to relocate, it could be a phenomenal opportunity. And then, of course, like the overall trend in our population is 1 in 5 U.S. residents will be over the age of 65, by the year 2030, which is just kind of crazy to think about. So this is in high demand now. It's only going to continue to be in more high demand. It is a challenging business because you do need a lot of employees and you need to be able to build a culture and keep those employees on staff. But if you're able to do that, which this business has been able to do that seemingly, it can be very profitable.
Yeah, this looks like a great opportunity. Thanks for putting this one in here and bringing this one up. Some of these concepts get me really excited. Just, for you guys that you're watching, like there's a lot of great opportunities out there for those of you who are willing to put the work in. Like if you're someone that you work hard currently, you're a top performer in what you do right now in your work. Like sometimes I remember thinking a while back, Kevin, maybe you can relate to this when you were in the corporate world, thinking like, oh, I want to work less. I want to spend less time working. What I didn't realize was that when you have a stake and when you're doing something you really love, you don't want to work less anymore. It was only because you were doing stuff that it just wasn't filling up your bucket. And I think for a lot of folks out there, like when you wind up finding the right business for you, especially you're dealing with seniors in this one, like the level of fulfillment in terms of and the impact of what you're doing can just feel so meaningful. And when you're making great money in your business, you're not trying to work less. That's not necessarily your goal, although you can potentially produce that. What's your thoughts on that, Kevin?
Dude, 100%. I mean, Krista, it's funny you say that. Chris and I were just talking this morning about it, how we feel lucky. We actually like working. We used to like dread Mondays, and then now Monday morning we have our meeting and it's like we're energized. We like work, like we love what we're doing. So we were literally just talking about that this morning. But I don't know how many times I hear people, like clients that we're talking to, or potential clients, and they're like, man, I work 60 hours a week now and I'm like grinding for my company. I'm like, you are a very sharp person. You're working that hard. So you obviously have the work ethic. If you do that for yourself, you're going to be much happier and much more financially successful, probably. It's like, we talk to people all the time that are working their ass off for somebody else. And, you could do that for yourself. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yes, sir. So for those of you who want to either inquire on this specific resale franchise, or if you want to learn about what resales are available in your specific area or zip codes, you go to franchiseempire.com/resales. Josh is on the money with dropping that link right at the perfect timing. My man, Josh is in the studio behind the stage helping us out. So
This all just magically appeared. I didn't know Josh was behind the scenes working.
uh, that's hilarious. Yeah, Josh is in here working magic. Oh man, if only you guys knew what certain things took, even though like it could look so simple, the actual effort required. Um, so yeah, you can go to franchiseempire.com/resales and you'll enter your info. You can set up a free 15-minute call either with Kevin or Krista and see what resales are available. And Mario, yeah, thanks for your comment on that observation. So probably something you can relate to. Okay, last but not least in this newsletter for us to cover is a couple client case studies. And if you want to take a look at any of these video case studies that we've done from clients and their reviews of like how they got there, you can see the link there. Again, Josh on point. Go to franchiseempire.com/success-stories. And Josh, maybe we can post that link as a comment as well to see if, because just the hyphen, I could see that throwing some people off. But franchiseempire.com, success-stories. Boom. So the first one was this client, Richard. So, and the reason I put this in here, again, I try to tie in my message that I put in with the actual client case study. And so two people came into mind that made a decision. So one is Richard. He had been thinking about starting a business for years. And keep in mind, this guy was was and maybe still is the COO of a pretty substantial size company. So like successful dude. And you know what he wound up saying, that what he had really needed was accountability in the process. Like, think about it. Super sharp guy, making a bunch of money in his day job, has the skill, has the money, has everything, but the accountability. And for some people that come through our system, you know, that's the magic formula, because we don't do things well. We've offered the traditional kind of brokerage model, but our core business is offering this unique support structure and system that provides you with that accountability. So you can check out his story. We also have a separate YouTube channel, separate from the podcast, that just has all of our client reviews. And if you type in Tarek Johnson franchise reviews in YouTube, you'll be able to find that YouTube channel. And next time we'll have that linked up as well for you guys. So that was Richard. That was one. And he wound up buying 3 territories of a franchise. If you want to know what he bought, let's see. How do I want to do this? If you want to know what he bought, schedule a call with Kevin. He'll tell you. And I'll tell you what it was, Kevin. Then Alexis. So Alexis is awesome. She's like a female version of me. And super high D, type A, but also struggles with analysis paralysis and overthinking. She had literally been thinking about buying a franchise for 10 years, guys. 10 years. She had worked with a franchise broker off and on, the same one, for 10 years. Right? And this is what I was alluding to in the top of this newsletter, which is like the worst feeling. And this was one of the things for me personally after we started the first franchise and got it profitable in 2 months, was my biggest regret was not doing it sooner. It was like, holy crap, I should have done this sooner. Like, think about it just really simply. If you know that you want to get from point A to point B as your destination, think you're driving or you're starting a race. You finally get to, let's say you procrastinate leaving the starting line, you finally get to point B and you go, holy crap, why did I wait 2 years to start? Why did I wait 2 years to start the race? Anyway, so she did that. Eventually, we had the call. She joined the Zero Profitable Franchise System, and she went out there. She pulled the trigger, bought her franchise. She's making big moves now. you can check out her story. But it really just starts with the decision, guys. And the decision could just be simply, hey, I'm going to commit to a specific process on looking at franchises and working with me, Kevin, whatever, our team, whatever it is. And even if you don't if you don't work with us, just commit to the process. And unfortunately, what happens for most people looking at franchises, you just scour the internet, looking up top franchises, looking at random opportunities here and there, and you wonder why that's not working for you. Success is not an accident. You don't just stumble across a great franchise with that validates well and that has, great reviews. You don't just bump into it, right? Kevin, what do you anything you got to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work just to even go through the process of finding a franchise. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to get started. The other thing is you wait that long, you could have potentially started a franchise, built it up, added another location or two, or been have an empire, or added another franchise system in that span of time. So, yeah, I totally agree with your points.
Yeah. And lastly, I'll close with this, which is, and sometimes going through the process, but at least in a structured way, will help you realize that franchising's not for you.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's the gift. We have people that join our system, and some of them go, you know what? Going through your program and talking to franchises that I thought aligned actually helped me realize that that's not the direction I want to go. And what's cool is that they say, because we survey our clients at all points of the process, right when they start, in the middle of the process, we survey them multiple times. And then if someone kind of goes off the grid a little bit, we survey them. Hey, was it something we did? What happened? Da da da. And sometimes we just get feedback from people, which is like, hey, I really appreciate it. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. And now I have clarity that I don't want to do it. And that's a gift too, because teeter-tottering in your brain of should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? That takes up so much mental space and energy. And just to understand if it's a yes or no, man, that gives you so much inner peace of just at least figuring out, what direction, you want to go. So I'll leave you guys with that. If you have any questions or comments, let us know in the chat. If there's any way we can support you, we can help you. Again, every Monday, we're going to do this. 1 p.m. Eastern time. Kevin, thanks so much for coming on and finding those franchise concepts. By the way, Kevin and Krista, they put a lot of time and work in finding these, typing up these recaps and descriptions. It's a lot of work that goes into putting this on. So we really appreciate it, Kevin.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on.
For sure. All right, y'all. Have a great Monday. Peace.
Bye.